Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today, we're talking about Canberra Energy once more. In today's video, we're going to talk a bit more about the due diligence part, technical analysis, and what I think about this one. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. And we did talk about Canberra Energy CEI before. My last video is in the description below, but we have new information I would like to go through. First of all, we do have a new SEC filing that was submitted today. For the major part of this one, it might not be relevant, so you can skip ahead, but just to give you an idea on what this is, first off, Canberra Energy is an oil and gas kind of holding company that is investing into Viking Energy and acquiring it as well. And if this is the first time you've ever heard about them, I would recommend that you watch my videos in the comments below or in the description below. But first off, in terms of Canberra Energy in general, you're able to see that this SEC filing is coming in relations towards an incorrect classification of any applicable sales of preferred stocks for the period between August 2016 and April 2021. Now, the financial statements for the period between the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2017 through the quarter ending September 30th, 2020 should no longer be relied on. Similarly, any previously furnished or filed reports relating towards earnings releases, investor presentation, or similar communication of the company describing the company's financial results for the impacted filing should no longer be relied on. Now, the company intends to file restated financial statements for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2019, March 31st, 2020, and on Form 10-K/A, and to file restated financial statements for the quarterly period of June 30th, 2020 and September 30th, 2020 on Form 10-Q/A in each of the cases to reflect the classification of the preferred stock outside of the permanent equity. The company's management and audit committee has discussed the matter disclosed in the item 4.02 with the company independent registered public accounting firm, Marcum LLP. So basically, just to summarize, this is mainly an accounting error relating towards the total preferred stocks outside of the permanent equity. And then the main thing that is going to impact this one would probably be things like price over book, price over sales, PEG, that kind of stuff. So it's really the amount or the market capitalization is the thing that might actually be really different with this one. Now, they're going to rectify the situation. It's an error from their side, but the market really brushed it off today as if it never happened. And you get to see that the assumed shares float here is around 25 million shares with an assumed short float that most likely is not updated, but around 25%. Really showcasing that this one has a really tiny shares float that can really go a long way with pump and dump schemes or just a massive movement and popping itself up. It really takes lower volumes to get this one moving. Currently, the average volume is somewhere around 240 million shares, and today the average volume is around 55.42. That's around almost 5 times more than the average volume. So that is quite significant. There's a lot of attention onto this one. And even if when you go towards Google Trends, we're able to see that this one is still picking up in terms of how popular it is relative to historical times. Currently, the last one that really hit high was around September 13th. You're able to see that there is kind of an impact going or curving upwards in terms of the attention for CEI in general on the search terms. Now, this is mainly a couple of things. This is just in Canada, but if we were to go ahead towards the United States or even worldwide, you're going to see a very similar trend where this one is spiking upwards. So definitely something interesting. The interesting region here for some reason is Romania and Moldova. So if we were to go ahead and just put it into the United States, you're able to see that it's a massive spike as well. Really closer towards, I would say, September 13th is the same volumes and kind of popularity as September 7th. Not yet back to the September 10th popularity for this one. Now, before moving on forward, if you'd like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on. Also, don't forget to drop a like. It helps me a lot and it benefits this channel if you do both. And if you would like to go one step more and reach out for questions, you can go ahead and join my Discord, totally free in the description below. There's a lot of moderators there and folks that are totally amazing. They're not trying to upsell you in anything. And we don't run pump and dump schemes. Now, on other parts here, in terms of the news, the last one includes the carbon capture systems that is patented as an exclusive IP license, or that is bought, and the Viking Energy announcement of additional equity. Currently, they own a majority of Viking Energy. And so they are a majority interest holder at 60.5% of the entire company. Now, similarly, Viking Energy has also acquired a majority interest in Simpson Maxwell Limited. They have a closer amount of the total general here. So it says here, is pleased to announce the acquisition of a majority interest for around 60.5% of Simpson Maxwell Limited. So in all technicality, kind of all in association, Camber Energy also have Simpson Maxwell under the portfolio now. And there is some news to be expected relating towards things recently as a 10Q quarter, so that's in 2 months later on, but there is some things expected towards a net zero and carbon net zero systems in general, in addition towards the exclusive IP license that a lot of retail is looking for. In terms of institutional buyers though, what we get to see is that the Bank of America has liquidated almost around 85% of their entire position of this one, as perhaps a way to capture some of their equity back from what you've seen previously in terms of the massive drop. So they could have just taken their main assets, their main capital out, and leaving the rest to run. That might be actually what's going on here. Now, in terms of insiders, we don't have much in terms of transaction history since 2018, but the short interest really does look interesting. What we get to see is that the short shares availability for this one is currently sitting at 0, meaning that there are no return shares that were previously borrowed. The current short borrow fee rate is not available, as the number is 0 for the available shares. And on the last thing that we do get to see here is that the short volume ratios have jumped around 60%. That means that almost 60% of any given day is going towards the short side, which is quite significant when you consider the total volumes at around 180, 147 in the last 2 days, and today so far around 240 million shares. Now let's move on towards technical analysis to understand this a little bit better. Now, in terms of technical analysis, what we're seeing here is that the technical analysis on the moving averages indicators are looking really bullish. You're seeing that the 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA. That's really nice to see. Currently, that's between 127 and 90 cents. That's something called a trading action zone, where most positive reversals actually do occur. And what we get to see is that the 50 SMA is crawling up really nicely compared to the 200 SMA. And this is kind of going on towards a golden star that will most likely be seen next week. And that's a very bullish thing to see. ADX is sitting at 46.94. It's currently between the 45 and the 50 mark. And you got to start worrying above 50 because that's where you're most likely going to start seeing the potential of reversals. But I've seen stocks go all the way to 70. That's kind of a momentum, volume, time indicator merged all together. Now, in terms of the Wellian percent R, which is very similar to the relative strength index, is showing that this one is overbought, meaning there's a lot more buyers onto this one than sellers, and the buying activity is really strong. The MACD apparently is a little bit stagnant, but still is very strong, as you get to see momentum is continuously growing, suggesting that this one surprisingly might continue moving on forward and upwards. Now, stochastic fast and stochastic slow is kind of looking up as if it's curving up, but there's not a lot of room to go. So in theory, usually things dip a little bit down from here. But basically what it's only saying is that this is a very strong parabolic move, as you get to see in the chart, and be very careful because at some point you will see a pullback. Now, in terms of the moving averages, you're able to see that they're also going parabolic. So that is a bullish thing. Momentum and volume are strong. Volume hasn't really dropped, so the interest in this one is still very significant from the retail side. On the Fibonacci retracements, and the reason why I highlight this one is because institutional buyers, traders, and short sellers often use this one. Currently on the support, it's 172, below there 139 and 99 cents. Resistances are 204, 250, and 310. From a price line action, we're able to see that there is currently a support sitting at 178. That's a very critical one. And then below there, around 171, going down to 153, then 143, and then a little bit down to 136, going downwards to 122, and then 107, jumping or dropping all the way down to 85 cents, 79 cents, and 68 cents. Currently on the resistances, 188 seems to be one of the resistances, 199 going upwards to 210, 225, and then around 236, around 262, and 310. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen here? Now, based on the things I've been seeing about the stock and the massive retail interest, I do think that this one will continue going on parabolic. It really looks like a nice movement, perhaps until it reaches the $2. That's where you might actually start seeing massive resistances. Currently, it is kind of on a channel, as you get to see currently upwards, and that's a very good thing. We can take a look at it even on, let's say, the 20-minute perspective. So there's that. But in all retrospect, is what we get to see is a massive push upwards. That's a nice uptrend, and hopefully that will continue moving on. Retail is pushing this one as we go forward, and it can really go back towards the $2-3. Is there fundamentals behind this? Not really. This is momentum, volumes kind of action, so you got to be very careful, because if momentum dries up or volume dries up, you might be in trouble, depending on when you sell, depending when you buy. Now, what do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share this video if you think anyone would benefit out of it, or others would benefit out of it if you watch it, if they watch it, and have a good one. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.